madhvaksharanti sindhavah madhvera santoshadhehe madhunaktam utoshasi madhumatpartivagum rajaham madhudaurastu napita madhumandavpanaspatir madhumagumastu suryaham madhvirgabho bhavantuna om shanti shanti shanti. May the rivers flow sweetly, may the winds blow sweetly, may days and nights be sweet to us, may trees and plants be sweet to us, may the sun shine on us sweetly, may the dust of the earth be sweet to us, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be blissful. Peace, 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 gentlemen. Friends, we are extremely happy that Swami Shraddhananda Maharaj, head of the Vedanta Society of Sacramento, has come to us in connection with the Golden Jubilee of the Society. I know Swami when I was a little boy, in class 8, class 9, and Swami was very kind and affectionate to me. He is a great learned monk. He wrote many books. The story of the epoch we have here, and he wrote many books in Bengali. He is a disciple of Swami Shivananda, the second president of the Ramakrishna Order. He gave his reminiscences last night, some of the direct disciples and other devotees who met Sri Ramakrishna. He met Swami Shraddhananda, Swami Shivananda, Akhandananda, Avedananda, Vidyananda, Subodhananda, and I have a great privilege to see his diary from 1930 onward, how he kept those records. He is a great chronicler, and I cannot express how much joy I have that he has come to us. Last 5 years, seldom he went out, he was not feeling well. Only 2 months ago, once he visited Hollywood and once he visited San Francisco. This is his third outing to St. Louis. So the Swami will speak today on the message of the Upanishads, that is his favorite subject. And he knows Upanishads very well, only that much I can tell you. And we shall hear from him the quintessence of Vedanta, which are embedded, scattered all over the Upanishads. Swami Shraddhananda.
Friends, it is my great joy and privilege to come to the St. Louis Center in connection with its Golden Jubilee celebrations. This center was founded by Swami Satprakashananda, whom I knew for many years in India as also in this country. And he had great affection in me. So when I come here, after his passing away, I came only once to join his memorial service. and this is my second time after his passing away. Swami Shraddhananda wanted me to speak about the Upanishads. When a serious spiritual seeker confronts this world, three questions come to his mind, and he has to find answers to these three questions. These three questions have been answered by different scholars and thinkers, philosophers, poets, scientists in their own way. But the Upanishads also has given us the answer to these basic questions, three. One, the person, the man or the woman who is seeking, who is confronting this world, this multiplicity of this world, with its contradictions, with its joy and sadness, with its beauty and ugliness, and so this is number one question. What is this world? This world which is changing from day to day, and it is bringing problem after problem. Every person has to face problems and their solutions. And the second question that comes to us is, who am I who is entangled in this world, who has been ushered into this world? What is the purpose of my life? How I came here? Who am I? In other words, my reality. The first question, the reality of this world. What is this world? The second question is, who am I who is facing this world? And the third question is there any director or master of these two shows? I am a show, no doubt. When I think of my body, it is full of mysteries. When I think of my mind, it is full of mysteries. So I myself am a world by itself with innumerable mysteries. So the third question is, I am born here, functioning here, facing this world day to day. But is there a power? Is there a supreme being or God? Or some entity different from me and different from the world? is there some force or power or Shakti? So as I said, these three questions are basic questions of man when man is in a serious mood. In order to ask and solve basic problems, we have to be in a serious mood. The question of a football match or something happening, casual questions, casual events, can be asked and solved very easily. But these are deeper questions. Deeper questions. Who am I? What is this world? And who is at the back of me and the world? So the sages of the Upanishads in ancient times, they declared their solutions. And these solutions are the Upanishads. Upanishads are the answers to basic spiritual questions of life. And these are answered in a very brief way, though the Upanishads, some Upanishads are voluminous, but many things are not directly connected. They are introductions to the basic truths declared by the Upanishads. Now we shall try to quote some passages from the different Upanishads and try to understand them. According to the Upanishads, the answers to these three basic questions converge into one. The Upanishad declares that all that you see, this world where you function, is a spiritual reality. You can see manifold in manifold ways, and you can write books about your study, no objection. But there is another study, inner study, which has to be done in another way. And we have discovered that way. And to that we have come to this conclusion. Sarvang Khallidang Brahma. All that you see, including yourself and thousands of other human beings, subhuman beings, gods, angels, heavens, all that you can conceive of, all that you can think of, is Brahman. Sarvam Khallidang Brahma. Sarvam means all. Khalu means certainly. That means there is no doubt. What we declare, there cannot be any doubt in that. We had gone to that experience where there cannot be any doubt. Idam means this, Brahma means Brahman. All this is Brahman. What is Brahman? Who is Brahman? That is declared in different Upanishads. But let me take only one statement. Sarvam Khallidang Brahma. This is from Chandogya Upanishad. that is Sarvang Khallidang Brahma. All this is Brahman, and Brahman is that who is Tajjalana. That means this is a condensation of three Sanskrit words: Tat, Ja, La and An. That means that Brahman who is the supreme reality is responsible for the creation of this world. Ja means creation, and Ana. Ana means preservation, sustenance, and La. La means dissolution. This universe which you are perceiving, which is so real to you, has come from a supreme being. And that supreme being also, after creation, he also preserves this reality. Reality here does not mean only this world. It includes all possible worlds. Time, space and causality. In the Upanishads at different places, there are descriptions of different heavens, different enjoyments, different kinds of beings other than human. Now this statement says all that is included in this Tajjalana. This world is coming from Brahman, and that Brahman is preserving everything, protecting everything, but also he is destroying everything. So these appearance of things, sustenance of things, and dissolutions of things, these three processes, cosmic processes, are going on by the will of Brahman. So don't be afraid to hear the word dissolution, because everybody wants this life. Nobody wants something that has been created and that has been loved. Nobody wants it to go. But there is no other way. Everything does go. If you study, if you look carefully, on the surface, whatever you love seems to stay with you. But nothing stays eternally. Things are continuously changing. So, we should know that it is Brahman, call him a god, but he is the highest reality. Elsewhere, it is in another Upanishad, the Brahman, the literal meaning of Brahman, the word Brahman is the greatest in every respect, the greatest in life. If you try to imagine an unending life, a life that is eternal, then Brahman is that life. Whatever you can conceive of and extend that object to infinity, that will be Brahman. In other words, Brahman includes everything. If you speak of happiness, Sukha, Brahman is the highest happiness. If you think of beauty, Brahman is the highest in beauty, the supreme in beauty. In this way, in different places of the Upanishads, the majesty of Brahman is indicated. That Brahman, in another Upanishad, he says, Satyam Jnanam Anantang Brahma. Brahman is truth. And Brahman is what kind of truth? He is consciousness. He is knowledge. And what kind of knowledge? Anantam, infinite knowledge, infinite consciousness. And Satyam, infinite existence. Satyam, a truth we are seeing always. Whatever we see is for the time being Satyam. It is real. But that reality is not Anantam. But Brahman is Anantam, infinite. If you speak of reality, Brahman is infinite reality. All that you can conceive of is in Brahman. Somehow, Brahman includes everything. Life is included in Brahman, death also is included in Brahman. Everything appears to us as pairs of opposites. Now these pairs of opposites we call in Vedanta Maya. Maya is this world which is the mixture of two contradictory things at every step. If there is life, there must be death. If there is happiness, there is side by side misery. If there is health, side by side there is sickness. You cannot help it. This is the nature of this world. It is called Maya. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad calls it Maya. But at the same time it declares this Maya is come from Ishvara, God, is Mai. And if one can knows this Mai, then his problem is solved. So about this world, the third thing of our inquiry is that which is not my body, mind, my personality, not this world of multiplicity, but he is the supreme master, the supreme agent, the supreme power by whom this world is manifest, and also myself, my thoughts, my emotions, my different parts of my body, my hopes, my aspirations, whatever is included in me and mine is also coming from Brahman. Brahman is at the back. Brahman is the back of me. Brahman is the back of this world, and Brahman is the back of everything. Now to go back to that passage, Satyam Jnanam Anantang Brahma Tajjalaniti Shanta Upasita. That Brahman is knowledge infinite, existence infinite, and he is responsible for the growth, appearance, sustenance, and dissolution of everything. But then the Upanishad says, Shanta Upasita. Know this fact, this basic fact, quietly, calmly, don't be disturbed. You have to raise your mind to a state by which you can see the world in a different way. You can see yourself in a different way, and you can see the master, the director of this show in a different way. So the Upanishad here in this verse prescribes Shanta Upasita. Upasita means contemplation. It is possible by raising your mind to different levels to see this truth gradually, not all at once. You can see by the process of upasana, the Upanishad says, is contemplation, meditation, reflection. Normally we are slaves of what we see. This world of Maya interests us in a very crude way. See, we know what our body is, what our body wants. We know our mind, what it wants, but that kind of knowing does not solve the problem of life. We have to pass through different experiences of life, then one day we have to take leave of the show. We have to go. Nobody can say, I want to live it eternally. So this world and me, my life, remains a problem unless it is solved. So this Upanishad says it can be solved. First you should know what really is this world. This world is a mixture of three processes. This world movement is life, existence, and it is knowledge, and it is also dissolution. These three things are happening, and don't be afraid, don't be depressed, but try to raise your mind to the state of contemplation. Then this process of contemplation will gradually lead you to higher and higher knowledge of this world, of yourself, and of God. Kratumaya ayang purusha. The same passage says, the man is made of his own thoughts and emotions and desires. This man, the important thing of man is his will, is his contemplation, is it hope. Kratu, that altogether is called Kratu. Kratumayo ayang purusha. Jatha kratu purusha bhavati tat eda pratyabhati. All through his life, man is making new desires, new experiments. Does not matter. Man cannot help it. But the Upanishad prescribes here that what we said in the beginning, try to keep your mind to that thought. It will not come in one day, but gradually you set up some time and practice contemplation. That this world is really Brahman, is really one spiritual reality. It is really consciousness. What other things we name and experience is but the projection of that infinite consciousness. Then the Upanishad says how to contemplate. It says here, Manomaya prana sharira akashatma sarva karma sarva gandha sarva rasa sarvam midang abhyatya abaki anadara. Try to see this world as a play of God. You see, the world is always active. Everywhere there is action. Action here, action there, different kinds of actions. From as soon as you get up from sleep, action goes on. There is no escape. Action at house, actions at the place of work, there is action, karma. You cannot escape it. Now here, the Upanishad says you have to bring this idea in your contemplation. Thus, all these actions are really possible because of the power of Brahman. Sarva karma. All the actions that we see inside and outside are possible because of that Brahman who is consciousness. So you think of that. If you have 10 minutes or 15 minutes of quiet time, you think of this world as a world full of activities. You hear the sounds of these cars, the voices, all kinds of actions are going. But now when you meditate, when you contemplate, think that all these activities, actions, karma, is possible because of Brahman. It is His Shakti, His power that is enabling any kind of activity to go. In another place, in another Upanishad, it is said that to think of all the actions that is going on, that are going on in your body-mind. The mind is thinking, the eye is seeing, the ears are hearing, the prana, the life is breathing. All these activities that are going on in your body-mind complex. The question is asked, who is at the back of these activities? Who is enabling my mind to think, my eyes to see, my ears to hear? Who is at the back of all the activities of this little world? Who is my body-mind complex? The answer is not given directly there. You see, you go on thinking of this. Is there someone at the back? And later on in the Upanishads it will be given, yes. There is yourself, your true self. If you go on inquiring about yourself, first comes the body, your own body, with its different organs and functions. Then comes your life, your prana, your living principle. Then comes your mind, thoughts. Then comes your ego sense, your intelligence. Then comes the experience of joy. All these things are in your personality. But you have to contemplate that at the back of all these things there is my true self. I am the true I. Every person, man or woman or even animals, has a center of identity, I. And every man thinks of the I am so and so. My name is this, my house is there. Many things together, that is his identity. I am a magistrate, I am a scholar, I am a sannyasin, I am this, I am this. Without this sense of identity, life becomes impossible. Now here the Upanishad says, go on inquiring who you are. Who is at the back of your eyes? Who is at the back of your ears, hearing all these processes? First inquire within. And if you go on inquiring and inquiring, you will see ultimately your identity is not in the body. When we say I am this, I am a man or I am a woman, that should be granted for the time being. But you, being a serious student of truth, you want an ultimate answer. Now for that, the mind has to be shifted to different levels. That is the process of upasana. Upasana means contemplation. So if you do that, you will one day find that your true identity is your true self. Let the I be their I. Nobody can escape the sense of I. Sri Ramakrishna says that the I is always there. Now the Upanishad here says, if you inquire, then one day you will find that your true identity is yourself, which is different from your body and mind and even from this world. This is one method of contemplation. Then the Upanishad, as I mentioned, the other passage, it's Satyang Jnanang Anantang Brahma Sarva Karma Sarva Kama Sarva Gandha Sarva Rasa. From the inside, you look outside. You see this is a world of action. Then you meditate. All these actions are proceeding because of Brahman. It is Brahman's Shakti, it is Brahman's power that is enabling all activities to go on. Then in our experience there are our 5 sense organs are bringing 5 kinds of sense perception. We see, we smell, we touch, we taste. Now the Upanishad prescribes, since Brahman is the all, so look upon this world as manifestation of Brahman. The vast space you see, it is frightening, it is confusing. And now so many studies are being conducted about space. That is all right. The sages of the Upanishad would say that is no contradiction with self-knowledge. But know this for the time being when you are in contemplation. Look at this vast space with all its mysteries that you have discovered through the ages. All this vast Akasha, Akashatma, the soul of this Akasha, it is not a material something. It is not a material object. This space or Akasha, it is not a material object. It is an eternal conscious reality, appearing as space, appearing as time. So this you have to bring in your contemplation. For the time being, you have to forget the declarations of science or poetry, but this is the science of the self, Atma Vidya. Now according to this Vidya, you have to think, contemplate that this vast space is God. It is in God as space and time that this material world is functioning. So think for some time, this vast space outside Akashatma is Brahman. So in space, all the objects of space have to be brought together, and you have to say this is all Brahman. And then in another passage of the Upanishad, we find that just as there is an outer space, so there is also in the heart an inner space. When you go to dream, in the dream state you see so many objects, so many persons, so many events, but you know these things are happening inside me, inside my mind. So that is called inner space or Chidakasha. So when this inquirer is meditating in this way about space as Brahman, then he is told about these two spaces. One space is outside space, and which seems to be so vast and confusing the concept of time, which scientists say that millions of millions, billions of billions of years on the human scale, things are happening. And also, when you go to the atomic world, there also the concept of time and space is really wonderful. Now, the Upanishads will say that all that is happening in space, it may be the minute atomic world, the space of the atomic world, or the space inside your heart, where you see in dream all phenomena like the waking. Like the waking, you see a world there. Now the Upanishad says that this is Akashatma. Atman, your true self, or Brahman, it is his play. All that is happening in outer space and all that is happening in inner space. Now by the process of contemplation, this multiplicity come together more and more, more and more. And the inquirer, he really finds that this vast world of our sense world is really inside our mind. It is in the Chidakasha, in that Brahman as Akasha inside, all this is happening. In this way, this multiplicity have to be brought together. They are brought together by the practice of contemplation and meditation. Just as it was said, sarva karma, all activities, any kind of activity, and in the very beginning we have been warned that whatever you see, don't be confused. Face it boldly. And now that little boldness is necessary to think that this vast world of activities are in me, in my mind. The vast space, outer space, and also this space, the world where the atoms and electrons and many atomic particles, that world also is in Brahman. So Brahman has been given the supreme place. All time, all space, all events are in Brahman. No Brahman as this. It is sometimes when we think in this line, our head becomes heavy, you see. But the process of contemplation, by the process of contemplation and meditation, slowly we begin to see these things, that really my true self appears as this vast universe of space and time, as the atomic world. But you cannot see the two things together. If you are interested in the outside world of time, space, go there. If you are interested in the atomic world, the particle study, when you study those things, study when you are awake. But when you are contemplating, when you are a student of Vedanta, when you want to know the greatest truth, and that greatest truth, then you have to have faith in these words of the Upanishads. Shraddha. And by this Shraddha and by contemplation, it is Upanishads have declared in many places that really it is one. This multiplicity that we see is one, and that is directed, that is happening in my true self. When I say I am this, I am that, I speak the truth, no doubt, but you have known little of yourself. You are really so vast. That vast majesty of your true identity can only be known through contemplation, having great faith in the words of the Upanishads and the words of your own guru, teacher. The teacher is an example of these truths of the Upanishads. So the teacher will confirm that really what the books have said about this world, about a director of this world, and about yourself, man the seeker, are really true. You go on without losing patience, without losing courage. You go on thinking. You have to rethink. You have to rebuild your mind. See, if you can rebuild your mind, it is possible to see that what you speak of God in the religions, that God and this universe created by that God and the perceiver, the man, are one. There is. So these three things, these three problems, the solution is the ultimate unity. So in one Upanishad we read, Ayam Atma Brahma. This personality, this self which we know, everybody knows one's own self. Say, I am a woman, I am a man, I am this, I am that. See? But that is not, that is knowing for the time being. But the real spiritual knowledge, you have to declare boldly that this self, which is changing its identity all the time, this moment I say I am happy, the next moment I say I am sorry, I am sad, I am hungry. All these things are permissible for the time being. But when you are seeking Atma Jnana, self-knowledge, when you are seeking Brahma Jnana, the knowledge of Brahman, then you have to think in a different way. In contemplation, you have to think that this vast space-time is in me. So there are millions of people are using their senses for happiness, to say, this is also one coming from Brahman. Sarva Gandha, Sarva Rasa. In this world this is also a world of sense perception. Say smell, good smell. Everybody likes good smell. Now here the teaching is, try to think that all good smell or pleasant smell are coming from Brahman. Brahman is appearing in little ways, in broken ways, but Brahman can appear to you as vast, so vast that it is not possible for our little mind to think about or our words to describe. So this is described in the Upanishads. Brahman is beyond our mind and speech. Avang manaso gocharam. It is only by your own meditation and your own practice that you can slowly understand what this world is, what you are, and what God is. That assurance is given. But in order to meditate, you see, we know when we read something and we try to meditate, our mind is so restless. No, one should not lose patience, you see. Now meditation, as you know, we can meditate in many ways. There are yogas, 4 yogas, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raja Yoga. All these yogas can lead us to that truth. But the Upanishad is stressing the the contemplation according to Jnana Yoga. So your goal is to understand the unity of the world. So all this vast universe that was in the past and that is functioning in the present and that will come in the future, all these things are one. And all these things should be dissolved in the self. The self, my own self, which is it seems to be so little. And so we are always afraid of, I may contract this disease. We are living in a world of fear, you see. Now here when you come to the Upanishads, you say, Abhi, don't be afraid. What you are thinking of yourself is only a part of the total truth. When you say, I am a man, I am an engineer, I am a husband, I am a religious man, you are only speaking little of yourself. By contemplation and by inquiry, you can see that you are really vast. You are Brahman. That is why the Upanishad says, Ayam Atma Brahma. This self, which is changing all the time, and that is really Brahman. Inquire, and go deeper and deeper and deeper. Then one day you will see that this whole world is in me. As it happens, the Upanishad gives some illustrations from our practical life. When we go to dream state, the whole world is in me really. In the dream state, I see the Empire State Building. You see, who has created that Empire State Building in dream? It is my mind. In another level, my mind is a great creator. It can create all the things that we see in this world. A waking state can be created in the dream state. Who does that? The Upanishads say the Atman, the self. It is his play. It is the play of Brahman or Atman to project these three states of experience. The waking state with all its contradictions, all its hopes and fulfillments. This is real, but this is not ultimately real. And also when we go to the dream, there is another world. Everything that we can experience in the waking state can also be experienced in the dream state. And when there is neither waking nor dream, there is deep sleep. In deep sleep, everything dissolves. Where it dissolves, we do not know. But the Upanishads have given the answer. It dissolves in yourself. You are thinking yourself as this body, as this mind, as this prana, but you are not so little. You are really great. And your greatness is hidden by what the Upanishads say, the 5 walls, the 5 koshas. In different places of the Upanishads, this majesty of man is described. Majesty of man as the self, as the really conscious being, as the reality. You see. So when man finds himself in that position, see, the Upanishad says all his grief, all his delusions are over. One of the smallest Upanishad, the Isha Upanishad, says, Isha Bhasyam Idang Sarvam Jatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. All that is experienced in this world and that is continuously changing for you, all that you want to hold on to, they should be covered by God, Isha. Isha means, it can mean many things. So the bhakta, a devotee, when he is bhakti yoga, then Isha means the God that whom I am worshipping every day through flowers whose name I am singing. That is the God in bhakti yoga. But in Jnana yoga, then this Isha or God is your true self. So the Upanishad says you cover everything with your true self, the supreme majesty of yourself. But Ramakrishna and Vivekananda in this age has harmonized the yogas. See, a person who is with great devotion doing prayer and japa, holy name of God, repetition, or doing worship, see, listening to devotional songs, he is a bhakti yogi. Ramakrishna, Vivekananda also say, don't be dogmatic. Through this bhakti yoga, this ultimate vision also can come to him, that ultimate unity. He will be able to see that this whole world is filled with God, just as for the Jnana yogi, the whole world is Brahman. So for the bhakti yogi, this world is the creation of my God. My God is so great, He can do the impossible. What apparently appear to be impossible, to God it is not impossible. Now Sri Ramakrishna illustrates this by a very impossible story. One bhakta was meeting another bhakta who was able to go to the abode of God, Vaikuntha, and is returning from Vaikuntha. So the other bhakta, other devotee is asking him, what did you see? Did you meet God? Yes, I met God. What was he doing? And he was passing a camel through the eye of a needle. He was pushing a camel through the eye of a needle. Now the other bhakta did not believe it. How is it possible? How is it a thin thread, to pass a thin thread to an eye of a needle is sometimes very difficult. How? But then the other bhakta said, well, to us it may be impossible, but for God it is quite possible. So impossible things are possible with God. So the bhakta never, a devotee of God, never lose his faith. He stands on faith and love. You see, a great disaster is happening. You see, in our world, say, involving the death of maybe thousands of people. Now a bhakta is not disturbed. For him, as the Upanishads said, tajjalana, the appearance and maintenance and dissolution, these three things are natural, the nature of this cosmic movement. So if you see death and dissolution, see, don't think that it is away from God. God is cruel, and God should not have done that. That is not the devotee's way. The devotee's way is to say that God can do everything. God can bring a desert into a garden, and God can destroy a beautiful garden into a desert. In God's creation, we see many things we cannot explain. A devotee of God should not be eager to explain these things. To explain is bringing more confusion. The way of faith, the way of love reveals to us great, wonderful spiritual things. So Ramakrishna Vivekananda said the way of jnana, as mentioned in the Upanishads, is a fundamental way, but the same knowledge can also be attained by devotion, by bhakti, or by a karma yogi, a man who has no time to meditate or to read the Upanishads or to go to a shrine or sit there and do japa. He has no time. But he is a spiritual seeker. He wants peace. He wants to understand this world and who am I. You see, he is So his path is karma yoga. He wants to do action, he is an active nature, but the Gita and the Upanishad also teaches that if you have to work with the spirit of detachment. Don't be attached to anything, however great and interesting it may be, but you be detached. So he becomes a karma yogi. And through karma yoga also, Swami Vivekananda declares over and over again that you can also attain that reality, that unity. See? But your karma, your action should be unselfish. Each yoga has its way. You have to go through these preparations. And the karma yoga preparations, which are more elaborately described in the Bhagavad Gita, but its essence is in the Upanishads. As I mentioned, the Isha Upanishad says that everything has to be covered with God. And your goal is to see the supreme unity in everything. If you can see that it is God, it is Isha, it is your own true self, that is responsible for all that is happening, then you have peace. You have nothing more to gain. You have come to your destination, the supreme unity. So the Upanishads are not really dogmatic statements, though its main emphasis is Atma Vidya, the knowledge of the self, or Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Brahman. When we look outside, then we call the supreme unity Brahman, the greatest. And when we look within, then that same Brahman is called Atman. So the Upanishads, say that in the Upanishads we find sentences of identity, where it says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. I, that is within this body-mind, that real I is the same as Brahman, who is worshipped as God, the Creator. So, the point is to reach and feel the unity. That unity may be attained through love, bhakti yoga, or through karma yoga if a man is perfectly unselfish. Whatever he does not claim the power to himself. He says it is all coming from somewhere, I do not know, but not me. He tries to avoid his selfishness as much as he can. Vivekananda says by this also, by this method, doing unselfish work, a man can attain the highest knowledge of unity. So we are all spiritual seekers. We should, from time to time, we should ask ourselves, why I am coming here and listening to the Swami's lectures or reading the books. This from time to time we should inquire, should ask. And whatever path is indicated to us by the teacher and by the Shastras, we should follow those things. Then our coming to Vedanta, you see, will be a great fulfillment, you see. We shall feel within ourselves that our life's problem is solved, you see. By that it does not mean that I won't have any disease, this body won't die. We should not confuse one with the other. My spiritual goal is the love of God, is the knowledge of my own self, true self, is to see and feel that in this universe there is a supreme unity, a golden thread of unity. And just as the Bhagavad Gita says, just as there is a garland, is all the different flowers are strung together by a thread. So this vast universe is, as it were, it is a garland. And through every fragment of this universe, there is God, there is Brahman, and there is Supreme Self. what name we give, we need not quarrel. A bhakta whose method is worship, prayer and all, should not quarrel with a jnani. He does not worship or sing songs. He wants to comprehend that supreme vast, you see. Just as Sri Ramakrishna tells a short incident, that there was a sadhu, a holy man, who used to live in a small cottage by the side of a waterfall, and in the night he would sleep inside his cottage, but from the morning till evening he would sit by the side of the waterfall and look at that waterfall, look at the sky, and clap his hands and said, "Oh, how wonderful, how wonderful, how wonderful." Now his God is there. He sees the manifestation of the Shakti, the power of God through that waterfall. Sri Ramakrishna says he had no other worship. He had no other meditation. You see, that was his contemplation. Open eyes, he sees that flow of water in the waterfall, and his mind has become one with that waterfall. See? So through this material world, it is possible to perceive the spiritual. This material world is an expression of the spirit, the expression of, just as I mentioned from a passage from the Upanishad, Sarvang Khallidang Brahma, Satyang Jnanam Anantang Brahma. So when we have come to Vedanta, we have come to a great community, a community which emphasizes practice of jnana, practice of bhakti, practice of karma, and practice of concentration, which is called Raja Yoga. And we need not complain that this is not possible. This is not possible. To be a jnani or to be a bhakta, to be a karma. We should, so that is why the Upanishad says, Katha Upanishad, Uttisthata Jagrata Praptya Varan Nibodhata. Swami Vivekananda made this the motto of our order. You wake up from your sleep of ignorance. Wake up. Get up, wake up, and go to the wise men who have experienced God, and be blessed. You see, that is the motto of the Upanishads. And Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, they have emphasized the synthesis of the yogas and the possibility, human possibility of experiencing God. You see, somebody coming to him and said, "Can householders realize God?" And Sri Ramakrishna's answer was, "Why not? Surely. Surely they can realize God. God is not merely for monks. God is not merely for men. God is for all. That is the great goal, and Ramakrishna Vivekananda has put new vigor, new power to these ancient teachings by example, their own lives, the lives of their great companions, whom we call the apostles, and the lives of many hundreds of other devotees through the years, from the time when they lived and they taught. There have been in different parts of this world thousands of devotees, men and women, who have practiced this jnana, this bhakti, this karma, and felt their life blessed, you see. To really to attain what Sri Ramakrishna in his simple language said, the purpose of human life is to see God. And Jesus Christ also said, "Blessed are the pure in heart who sees God." So seeing God and making that God a practical element in our life, seeing God and going and meditating in a cave. That was not the ideal of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. So Ramakrishna and Vivekananda have given new power, new strength to the ancient words of the Upanishads and scriptures. So we are really fortunate that we have found these teachings, and it is up to us to make these teachings practical in our life. What Swami Vivekananda called practical Vedanta. And one thing we should be careful about, sometimes despair comes, fear comes, we should throw away. These are the great impediments of our spiritual life. A spiritual life is not a life of sadness. A spiritual person, a spiritual seeker should be always cheerful. We have found God, we have a God. And my identity, is also that divine. In this way, if a spiritual seeker should say and think in a positive way, never a spiritual person should always be a cheerful person. See? And person of hope and courage. Then our human life will be really blessed. Thank you. Om apyayantu mamangani bhak pranaschakshuh shrotram matho balam indriyani cha sarvani sarvang brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakurjam ma brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastu anirakaranang me astu tadatmani nirate yah upanishadsu dharma te mahi santu om shanti shanti shanti. May the different limbs of my body be strong. May my speech, vital energy, eyes, ears, and all the senses be purified. All indeed is Brahman. May I never deny Brahman, nor Brahman me. May there be unbroken communion between Brahman and myself. May all the virtues described in the Upanishads belong to me, who am devoted to self-knowledge. Yea, may they all belong to me. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.